Oh, I did not think that that was where today was gonna go. My brain hurts already, just this book. This is like the worst family reunion ever. I'm just trying to be one with the weirdness. I guess I'm the Baron. I'm in a dilemma, guys. Let's talk this through. I literally just finished Furybound this morning, and it was a stellar sequel. The ending is very interesting. Before Furybound, I read The Wolf King. And if you watched my last vlog, you know that I was absolutely losing my mind over The Wolf King. But here's the thing. After reading 2 fantasy books back to back, I feel like I do need a palate cleanser despite how incredibly excited I am to dive into The Night Prince, especially knowing that we start off with a highly requested POV. But that being said, I don't want my reception and reaction to The Night Prince to be diluted because I'm coming from Furybound, a totally different world and system. So here lies the dilemma of what said palate cleanser should be. But first, welcome to the vlog. Welcome if you're new here. We're gonna be mood reading our way through the next 2 weeks. Now, it is the start of May, and usually I start with a list of TBR books picked by my TBR jar. But if you've seen my other videos, you know that my TBR jar actually hates me, and I'm actually freshly recovered from a reading slump. I really cannot risk relying on this jar to help me out here, hence the mood reading. So here are the qualifiers for our options. It can't be a fantasy or sci-fi because to me they're so adjacent to each other, and I don't want a romance because personally I am just not a romance girly. I have read some that were absolutely fantastic, but they are few and far in between. So not a romance, and not something too outside of my comfort zone because I ain't trying to slump again. So with these qualifications, taking a gander at my TBR, these are my options. And if I narrowed these options down to the ones that I'm mostly in the mood to read, these would be our main contenders. First up is The Pelican Child. Why did this one make the cut? Well, for one, she is very short. She is only 155 pages. This is a book that if I really wanted to, I could read in one sitting. It's a collection of short stories about visionary childhood misfits and struggling adult dreamers. It would be short and sweet, but I don't really feel like I'm in the mindset to appreciate The Pelican Child in full capacity. Now, my year of rest and relaxation has my curiosity. If you guys peruse the reviews for this book, they're so polarizing and unhinged that naturally I want to find out for myself how I feel about this book. It is just under 300 pages. It's exactly 288 pages, so still relatively short. However, I think the overall encompassing theme of this book, and I'm saying this without reading it, but just what I've inferred is that this book is largely around someone's inability to cope with grief. And again, while it's piqued my interest, I don't know if I want to dive into something super heavy. Which leaves us at our next contender, which is The Bright Years. And while I don't know much about this book, I do know that it's been getting a lot of love and praise. It is a multi-generational story, which I've recently just finished Wuthering Heights, and I really enjoy the aspect of the story spanning generations. So The Bright Years does feel like a good fit for the very specific mood that I'm in right now. It is also under 300 pages. I don't know if I said that. Hang on, let me grab it real quick. Yes, so she is also short. She is, oh wait, nope, that's not quite the end. Why is it so hard to find the exact last page of the story? Oh my gosh, that's a different book. Bear with me, I know you are in suspense. Okay, 269 pages, not bad at all. This feels like a really solid choice. So grab yourself a drink, get cozy, and let's start this book together. Writing is absolutely gorgeous, and I know I'm talking outside and the wind might interfere. Hopefully it's not too bad, but this was an incredible introduction. The whole scene plays out like a movie and it's already heart-wrenching. So I'm now past the intro and at part 1. You guys, I have to stop. I need to grab a pen. I need to start annotating because the writing is exceptional. Quickly becoming a fan. morning, guys. It is the next day and I'm actually trying a new setting out on my camera, so let me know if you guys notice any difference whatsoever. Anyways, I'm so excited to be talking about The Bright Years because this book as you saw, I started annotating. Right now, I am currently 100 pages in, so this is what my annotations are starting to look like. I have 8 tabs so far. I actually had to tear myself away from this book. It was keeping me up late last night reading, and it's not because I'm so invested in the plot. Rather, I am completely enamored with Sarah DeMoff's writing, and it feels like such an understatement to say that this writing is beautiful. So I want to give more context and substance to that so you guys can fully appreciate where I'm coming from and hopefully pick this up yourself. I am not an English literature major. I'm not a professor. I'm not an English teacher. So talking about writing styles in general is way out of my comfort zone. But with how much her writing is impacting this story and its effects on me as a reader, in addition to me knowing that this particular style of writing is a sure way into my heart and I want to find more books with this kind of style, that naturally caused me to do some research and figure out exactly what it is. So through that research, I identified that my favorite writing style is called epigrammatic and philosophical writing style, specifically if the author uses a balanced structure. So let's get into that. A characteristic of using this style is that it's aphoristic, which means it states a deep universal truth in a very concise way. So it's rather minimalistic, it's easy to understand. The author uses simple minimalistic words to deliver emotional impact, and that it does. There's also a balanced structure to it, which means that the author pits 2 opposing concepts against each other for contrast. And The Bright Years is riddled with a balanced structure and cuts straight to my soul every single time. Another aspect of this that is so personally meaningful to me is the depiction of the love between mother to child, child to mother, and then most specifically a boy to his mother and a mother to her son, but also the sensitive dynamics of being a girlfriend or a wife or a fiance and the mother-son relationship. I'm a mom of 2 boys, so this topic is very interesting to me, but let me just give you a quick example of this type of writing style. In this scene, she's talking about cuddling on the couch with her daughter, who is now, I think, 6 or 5 years old, and her daughter's name is Jet. Afterward, Jet and I collapse on our couch where she falls asleep on my lap like a relic of her former self. Her head no longer has that baby scent. It smells like sweat and animals. I can't bear to move her even when my forearm prickles. With my free hand, I pick at the old plaid fabric couch, vowing to replace this next year. No more brown. I rest my chin on my sleeping daughter, not wanting the moment to ever end. But at the same time, ouch, I can't wait to get her into the bath and stretch my aching legs. Holding on eventually becomes more painful than letting go. So there's that example of balanced structure where she's talking about wanting to hold on to this moment and never letting go. And honestly, that is the pain that all mothers feel, is wanting to capture every simple moment and wanting to make almost every memory with your child a core memory, and being sad at not knowing what's really going to stick with you in the end and what you'll remember 40 years down the line. But the unforgiving truth is that time always moves forward and pushes you forward. So even though you want to hold on to this moment, this memory, this scent, there's also that reality and aspect of life of just having to let go of even the best and sweetest moments. Now, in addition to that, there's also beautiful analogies, like this one quote of her just giving birth to her daughter. She says, "She wiggles and squirms and shifts, and fear hums beside me as I begin to understand that keeping a child is like keeping the sky, always with me, but never mine." I can't tell you how many times this writing has made me tear up, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but The Bright Years is a plot surrounding addiction and generational addiction and what it's like to love someone who's an addict from the perspective of child to parent, parent to child, spouse to spouse. So that's where I'm at. I'm gonna read for another hour. I may or may not burst into tears. Guys, I got myself into a pickle again. So apparently, I've solved one dilemma and then created a whole nother one. let me start making sense. Last night, I finished The Bright Years. This was immediately 5 stars, and I've simply have cried too many sad tears as well as happy tears with this book. So I'm not even making you guys wait till the end of month wrap up to know the rating. It's 5 stars. But my dilemma is that I now fear that I am still no longer in the right headspace for this guy. I now fully understand why people just go the romance route for palate cleansers, because it's easy, simple, fun, fast, and the likelihood of them leaving you in such a introspective, philosophical state of mind is pretty low. But that's not what happened to me. Now, oh my god. Does this mean I have to read Children of Dune now? Because that would be the perfect bridge. Oh my god, that would be the perfect bridge for my state of mind and fantasy. I know Dune is like seen as a blend of fantasy, mostly science fiction. Oh god, do I do that? Maybe I do that. That seems more natural. Okay. Oh, I did not think that that was where today was gonna go. Not that I'm upset. I was just really hoping to read it closer to Dune Part 3 coming out, which I think happens in November, just so I can remember a lot more, because from my understanding, Dune Part 3 has a much bigger gap in time than Dune Messiah, and so I think there's gonna be parts of Children of Dune that bleed into Dune Part 3, which could be why they're calling it Dune Part 3 and not just Dune Messiah. Guys, what the heck? I'm so shocked that I haven't read this yet. What do you mean? Me a few weeks ago wouldn't know the me now. And that's just the power of reading and the joy of mood reading. So I guess we're reading Children of Dune, which I don't actually have on this shelf. So I think I'm gonna have to download it on my Kindle. So I guess let's start Children of Dune together. Good thing I charged it last night because it was at like 5%. Okay, Children of Dune is 623 pages. Oh my god. My brain hurts already, but this feels right. This feels good. Actually, this is such a great plan, because after reading Dune, I'm definitely gonna crave reading something like The Night Prince. So I like where we're going. It's so good. I love Frank Herbert's writing. Hey guys, so it's been a couple of days and I actually now have the physical copy of Children of Dune, which I'm really struggling with the actual dimensions of this thing, because the amount of pages and the size of this book has really made cracking the spine, which I'm not someone who has to keep spines pristine, but it's pretty severe the way that the spine has to crack in order to comfortably read this. But that's the only gripe I have about it. I actually really love the new cover art that was done by Jim Tierney. I think all of the books look really cool and cohesive. Now, reading-wise, I'm actually at the 40% mark, which I'm happy about. However, I can feel my pace starting to trickle down, just because some days I had more time than others, more energy. You guys know how it is. Okay, so let's get into the first 40% of the book. Keeping it spoiler free, I'm just going to talk about my impressions and reactions so far. And I'll start with the fact that I love the beginning of the book. The irony of Stilgar protecting the twins while also grappling with his own inner turmoil for the purpose and legacy of Leto and Ganima is just a brilliant way to open the story. And I'm loving the multitude of agendas being formed between unlikely allies. I'm absolutely blown away and grapple with comprehending the sheer size of Aaliyah's temple. What do you mean it can fit like a dozen ancient cities? I can't even picture this. And I also can't fail to mention that my beloved Jessica is very much back in the picture, and in a very interesting way. So far, I find that Dune is exploring various levels and types of power struggles, like the ancient and powerful knowledge that Aaliyah and Leto and Ganima can access, pitted against the powers and strengths of the Bene Gesserit, but also just your basic familial power struggles like mother against daughter. And we've now met 2 new notable characters, such as Javid and the Preacher, who is causing lots of mayhem and suspicions for everybody. And while we got 2 new characters, we are also seeing old resurrected characters through the minds of Aaliyah, Leto, and Ganima. Needless to say, I'm having an awesome time, and I'm at a point where some major consequential actions might be taken. So really intrigued and eager to get back into this. I'll check in with you guys later. I am so sleepy, and I may or may not have eaten an entire Rice Krispie bar in an attempt to give me some energy. Not the best decision. It'll probably backfire on me. But you know, you don't always wake up every day and make good decisions. And that's kind of how my day's going. By the way, it has been 2 days, give or take, since I gave you my last Dune update. I've been reading my little heart out. Now I only have like 70-ish pages left. I'm gonna be honest with you, I have hit a little bit of a wall, but I think I'm breaking through it. Things really took a turn for the weird. I'm just trying to be one with the weirdness and really embrace it. But before we talk about that, let's get into some of my earlier thoughts. I do feel like things are really too bright. Here we go. With only 70 pages left to go, I really truly feel that Children of Dune, she's mine, my Dune, that's right, my Dune. I guess I'm the Baron. No, but really guys, I feel like Children of Dune is probably my favorite book so far. It has all of the aspects that I loved about the first Dune with added emotional depth because we know these characters so much deeper. You guys, my jaw was on the floor with tears in my eyes during that one scene. And I'm gonna keep this spoiler free, so I'm not gonna say the name of the character. I'm just gonna say the type of being that this character is, and you guys will know. But the scene between Jessica and our so loved Gula Mentat hybrid, my heart was just breaking for that character, handing over their resignation, like for a Mentat to think that that is the logical answer. You just know the depths of betrayal and despair that that character must have been feeling in order to go through that. Now, of course, being a Mentat, there were other considerations in place, and ultimately I just reached the scene where the logic of this character in that scene is better understood. I'm really sorry. I'm probably making no sense to people who haven't read the book, but just suffice it to say that Children of Dune really raises the stakes for all of the characters. Last night, I got to the part where I know who the preacher is, which is a plot twist that I didn't actually see coming. And then we get into what is going on with Leto II. And this is where I honestly hit a wall where I think Children of Dune is where you're really going to be challenged as a reader to either fully accept this world and Frank Herbert's vision, or you're gonna realize what's going on and you're gonna be like, okay, this is maybe just a little bit too much for me, and call it quits. Where I am on those two spectrums, I was in the middle. When I got to that part where you realize what's happening to Leto II, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I reached a point where I was like, I need to take a breather from this and really assess everything that I know so far about Dune and all of the themes and concepts that Frank Herbert is trying to execute through the story, through the plot, and through all of these characters. And once I did that, then I really understood how massive of a metaphor the things that Leto II has to endure in order to reach the golden path is. Like, yes, he is physically going through this, and yes, I'm reading this correctly, but on a deeper philosophical and metaphorical sense, this is truly the only way forward for humanity at this point in Dune. At least that is my understanding so far. I have 2 more books to go before I fully understand, but I feel strongly that Children of Dune is really going to test your loyalties to the world and to whether or not you can truly be on board for this story. It's incredible. So let's finish this together. Exactly 25 pages left, and something really big just happened, and a lot of this is starting to feel like a domino effect. I'm locked in. Guys, I literally have only 15 pages left, but my little one just woke up and he's feeling under the weather, so I do have to table this. Promise we will finish these last 15 pages together tonight. Duty calls. We're back and ready to finish. You know what makes me nervous about finishing Children of Dune specifically is because I think I read somewhere that, sorry if you can hear my dog's toy. It's new. She's excited. Anyways, I think I read somewhere that Dune was originally a trilogy, so this could potentially be how the series ends. Whether or not that's true, you guys let me know. It just makes me feel like a lot is supposed to happen within these last 15 pages. And so far, this is like the worst family reunion ever. If you can even call it that. Okay, let's jump back in. Oh my god. Aaliyah. Oh my god. Okay, first of all, I'm so excited that I can say that I've finished this. This is just continuously blowing my mind. I'm really curious with how the execution of the Golden Path is going to go and if this is really seen as a good thing, because it certainly seems like they're about to go into some really dark times in order to essentially start over and get humanity right. If I was a character in this book, I would feel very uneasy. I would be so stressed out in this new empire that will last for 4,000 years. So it's not like you wait for another election. No, you've got this guy for 4,000 years, and then even beyond that, he will be training all of the descendants. Forever you will be in this empire, and is it actually going to be worth it all in the end is my question. I'm definitely going to continue my journey into the Dune Saga. Anyways guys, it's been an exhausting 3 days and 3 nights for me, but you know what? We have actually been successful at solving all of the dilemmas that I've experienced in this mood reading vlog, because I am now officially, most definitely in the mood and super excited to pick up the Night Prince. I do think I'm going to do that in another vlog though, because I feel like this one is getting a little long maybe, but I'm really happy with the mood reading that we've done, and it just feels so good to not be held to a TBR jars pick for me. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.